Hey guys, in this video we are going to add the edit feature in our product management or the product module of our IMS system. So before we do that, let's just update this created by column, and instead of the ID we'll return the real value, which is the first name and last name of the user. So in our product view.php we have this created by. So here we can create a PHP code inside. So let's open or insert PHP code, and basically this one will just query the name. So the name of the query the products database. So here we have a sample query, show user. So here an example script. So let's just copy this one, insert inside our page. So as you can see here, we have to select from the table names. Currently the table name is users, where ID is equals to this ID, so which is this variable, and then we'll just put it inside the variable PID. So if we execute, let's just refresh the page. As you can see, we have undefined variable PLD, so it should be small I. So it's not showing result, or it's not showing an error. So here you can just get the result. Dump the result. As you can see, we have the return, or we successfully return the details of the user with the ID 1. So we need to update the queries. As you can see, if we bottom or use this function, this will return an array of rows, but we only need a single row. So here we can just update this one, fetch, and then here we can move this statement and part of the row. So as you can see, if we refresh and bottom, as you can see, it's returning just a single row, and then inside is the key value properties of the user. So now we have the row data, or the user's data. We can then capture the name, so we can use row the first name, row the last name. Then here we can echo the created by name. So if we refresh, as you can see here, we have captured the real name of the user who created the product. So now in our next is the edit. So the edit feature, we'll just use a dialog, a bootstrap model, same with what we did for the view users. We edit, then they'll display the data or display the form, and then its old or the current values. So our view product, so let's just add this separator between the edit and delete button. So here in our edit or update product, we have the ID. We pass the ID. Here we can get the or passed also the product name, description. So however, if you can see, if we add description in our tag, this will get messy, and the reason is if we have 500 long character, so this edit or this HTML element would not be looking good. So currently, if we use capture the description of the product, and then view that edit button, as you can see here we have the product description. This should be the product description. As you can see here, it does not look good. So just imagine if we update the description. So let's just random words. So let's just copy this one, just an example, see if we have multiple or this kind of description. Let's refresh if this will work. So here, if we refresh, as you can see here, if we look at our button, as you can see, it is not good to capture or put the description inside an HTML attribute. So what we're going to do is we pull it live from our server. So the only thing that we need is the product ID. So let's refresh. So we have the ID. Now here in our event or JavaScript script, we can have class list contains, then here we'll just alert will be updating. So if we add it, will be updating. So here we can copy this one, this section here. So we have the prevent default, which is preventing the page from loading. So if we refresh, edit, as you can see, it is not reloading the page. Then here we'll just need the ID, data PID, So if we log the PID, as you can see here, it's ID number 10. So now let's continue the script. So I'm just going to copy the users users view rather. So we have the update user, then let's just use this bootstrap dialog. And then here we can just refresh, then edit. As you can see, we have variables that doesn't belong in this dialog or script, since this is for the users updating a beta. So let's update the first name. So instead of first name, we'll have the product name. So since we still don't have the product or the data about the product, and we only capture the PID, so I mentioned earlier that we'll need to pull it live from our server. So here let's create the function get or maybe use a dialog that is show edit dialog, and then let's just send the PID. Then here we can move the dialog inside the function, so this will be an ID. Now let's try to move. So now before we show the dialog, let's get or run a PHP Ajax, a get request. Then here we'll have the connect to database, then get get product.php. Then here the ID will be the ID that we use, or this one. And then here let's just set the data type to JSON. So if we refresh, click the edit, the show edit dialog is not a function. Here it's just hard refresh. Weird. So this is a function. Let's just comment this out. you can see, something is wrong with our script. So seems like this keyword does not get, or it's not part of this object, this script object anymore. So we can just add a var. So let's just VM and capture this, which is this function, the script function. So here, instead of using this, we can just use the VM, and then this should run the functions. Are refresh. As you can see, it's now working. So now let's refresh. As you can see, we still have not created this file. So let's just let's see if we have some. Okay, so let's new file, get product.php. Then here let's get the ID. Let's try to edit and then see in our console. So get product. Let's just remove this one. So edit. As you can see here, it's now working. It's capturing the ID. Then here you can just use the statement. Then here, if we get ID, and then it should be products, execute, and we return the row. So for now, let's just dump, edit, see. So the con, so we'll need to include the connection that PHP. So currently, let's just move it to the top, then refresh, then edit. As you can see here, response, it's showing or pulling the product details, which is the ID number 10. So now let's return it as a JSON. So I need to echo just JSON, use this function to return or make this array into a JSON or text-based file. Then here going to just update this one, should be show edit dialog, then it will be the data. If we lag the data, if we click the edit, as you can see here, it returns the product details. So now we have the product details. We can make use of this one. can now show the dialog. So here update, so here let's just use the data, then to get the name or the details we'll just capture. So instead of data, let's use product details. Then here the key, so the product name, let's refresh, edit. So first name is not defined, so for now let's just remove this. Let's refresh and edit. As you can see, we have product 1. Let's just add more product. Choose the file, then let's add the product. So let's try another product number 3, description number 3, just the file, add. So if we view the product, as you can see, we have 3 products added to our system. So now if we edit this Milo, it should pull Milo product number 3 or the product number 1. So here let's have the form or the details or the input field. So we can make use of the product add feature or page. So here we can just capture this and then paste it in our message object. So let's just add this one. So if you refresh, edit, you can see product name, description, choose file, product name, description, choose file. So here, not sure why it's not showing or looking similar, these input. Let's just add, or maybe forms. I think we need to wrap it inside the form in order for the style to reflect. So let's remove this one, and then here let's close form, refresh. So here as you can see, the styling is reflected to the dialog or the field. So now what we're going to do is we need to set the value so we know what is the current value of the name, description. So here same thing with this one, can use product details that Then here let's just use the product name. Don't know what are the fields or the keys. Let's add it. So here we have the description. Then we have the product name. So we refresh, add it. So here we have the product tree, and the description is not showing. So this is a text area. Should be inside the tags. So here you can just use that one, refresh, edit. So here we have files, or we captured the data. Malo, we have the description. Now here on our next step is to save the data. So as you can see here, in our form, let's just check the update user. So this is our current update. So now let's create or make sure the form is accepting the product image, which is a file. So here in our product ad we have this one. Let's just move it to our dialog form. Also we have the so what we're going to do is, once the user click on the update, then we'll trigger posting of data or saving or updating of the data. So let's just add an ID to this one. Then edit dialog form. Then that's submit. Let's just return, refresh, submit. So I think, yeah, it's added since we added the database .php. But before we don't need the reloading the page. So if you edit the product, and then okay, as you can see, it's refreshing and it's redirecting to product ad. The reason is we're using the add.php file. So what we're going to do is we need to add an event or a listener that on submit of this form it will not reload the page. So here we can just use JQuery. So for the form that or maybe we can use the row JavaScript on submit so the same thing. We get the target element and then we alert the target element, so we can also get the ID. So we can get the class, we can get the ID. So if we edit, it's not working. Let's use JavaScript instead, I mean JQuery. So let's see if this will work. It's not working. So here's what we can do to achieve this problem or solve this problem. So in our form, let's add an input type button. Then here it should be submit and then value submit. So if we refresh, edit, so we have now the submit button. So here can add an ID of edit product btn, and then also let's add the class of hidden. I'm not sure if this will hide the class. As you can see, it hides the button, so once it is hidden, so here once we click the is update, we can then trigger, so get the button which is edit product submit btn and then trigger the submit function. So let's just remove this one. Let's see if this will work. Edit, okay. So I think it works. Edit, okay. So here it's not an object, so trigger, well, it's not submit, but we are going to click the button, edit. So as you can see, it refresh. I think you still need to log in. View product, edit. So as you can see, it triggers the adding a product. So if I'm going to edit again, refresh, not sure why it returns this page, but as you can see in our view product, we have another record of the product tree. So here we can add an event listener. So in our register event, we can add document that add event listener on submit function, get the target element. So we need to prevent the default, which is loading on the page. So edit okay. So as you can see, it is not redirecting to any page. On submit, then here we can just get the target element, which is target properties. Then here we can say if target element.id equals submit edit product form, then we'll just alert updating form. So if we refresh, we edit okay. So alert is not defined. Updating form, as you can see, we also have this error, user ID is not defined. Okay, so that errors is regarding this one. So let's remove this and then move it to this edit form. Let's create the functions. Here we can use the VM variable save or updated data. Then here we can create that function save data. Then let's alert hi, see if this will work. Edit console hi, so that works. So now let's get the data. So here the URL, we can just use this one. So we have the update user. Here we can create our new file, update product.php. Then here let's update product.php, and here data, we need to capture the form data, so we can make use of this object or class, and then can make use of this class. Then we can submit or pass the form, which is the current form, the edit product form. So this form data will create the keys and then its equivalent value. So if we console.log, let's just test this and see. We edit, save. So as you can see, it's not system form element. We should get the forms document, we can just make use of the target element. We pass that one, that's the form element. So if we refresh, edit, okay, as you can see we have form data. You should see here some of the properties. So now let's try to so before we do that, let's just add this variable or object properties. So we need to remove this one and replace it with this one, so this will ensure that we are not sending a string to our server. So instead you will send as a, it will send as a form data instead of a string. So here can let's just update our file, see if this will work. Let's refresh and then edit, return the danger and see the network. So as you can see here, we have the product name, description, the image. So file, I think it's files. Let's refresh again. So as you can see here, the response, we have the image, the file data, we have the product name, description, and as you can see the image is empty or no data since we didn't select an image. So we choose a file, so let's select this one and open. This should capture the file data. So now let's continue. So we can just get the add.php file. So for now, this is the important or complicated thing. We'll just copy this one. So we can have the product name, which is this one, post data, then capture the product name. Can have the description, post, and then we have this one, product name, description, and then the image. So we have the target directory, we have the file data, file name, file extension. So here we still haven't created the file data. So the file data, we need to capture it using this one, the image name or key. So the image here is based on the value we set inside this file, input type file name equals image. So if this is a new name, we can update it, make sure they are the same in this key. So if we check now, so we have the value, so value is file name, Let's just remove this one. Can just use so let's update this one. File name value will be file name, and let's set the default value to now. So now we have the product name, the description, also the file name value. Now let's save the database. So you can just get this one. So instead of insert, let's just update to the name of the table, which is products. Then here set so here we need to get the or set the properties or column values. So in our inventory we have a table for description and product name. So product name will be this product name, then comma description will be description, and then image will be the file name value. Here let's move this below, set where id is equals PID. So currently we don't have the PID, but we can add that inside this page. Let's make it hidden, and then set the name to PID, and the value will be the product ID. So ID, or you can use the product details that ID, or also you can use the ID. So just the same thing. So let's execute, respond successfully updated, and then here we can write strong, and then let's get the product name. Let's enclose that one inside double quotes. So for now let's just bottom the product name, description, PID, file name value, and then die to see if it captures the data. To edit, and then let's add image. Then let's check on our console here, unexpected include on line 38. So here we have to add semicolon, edit, first see define PID. So of course here we need to get the PID. If you look at the payload, we have this form data PID. Let's try again, edit, choose an image, okay, As you can see, we have the 25 name description. So now let's try to remove this, update the product record. So let's see, so for this let's add updated set the image, click, it's an error, refresh. It didn't change. Let's try again. Product tree, choose file. So there's an error, so dbr. So we don't have the dbr execute statement. So we have here let's use this update the table properties, the update product. So here we can use this one. We'll use a placeholder. So each of these columns will be using a placeholder. And then here in our BBR we'll supply this one, so it should be in the same order of how it is set up in this SQL. So the first one is product name, so product name will be the first element. Next is the description, next image and file name, and then the PID. So let's refresh and edit. Okay, let's see. Get image size, file name cannot be empty. So here can remove this file name by move it to the top. Then here we can now let's just bottom the file data. So we don't need to insert this code if it's empty, so just trying to know what statement should we use. So here we can just use the temp name. So if file data temp name is empty, so if it's not empty, then we'll proceed with this script. So let's try edit. So let's just update this one. Let's remove this get product. Line 40, so there's another line 40. Product name, description, image. I think it's not an image. So it's an image. PID. Something's wrong with the image equals null. Maybe let's try to make it an empty string. This will work. Near description. Set product name. I see. Sorry about that. So now it's fine. So let's just remove this extra comma. So let's try to edit the product. See here, there's no response. We'll just echo response. So now let's just try to edit and see if this will update the database. Updated and set the file image on the image. And let's just refresh. As you can see here, we have the updated. We set the image and also the description. So it's working. So now let's try to wrap it inside this try, and then here this message can just false, and then error processing your request. Here in our database, so if data is accessed, before that let's just console or log the data, see if it returns. So here we can get the data type, the JSON, and refresh, edit, okay. As you can see, we reload. As you can see, I think we don't need to do anything on this page, but you can make it shorter, so you can just use bootstrap dialog.alert. So the type depends if it's success. So if it's success, we'll use type success, else pager message, just using the same property. Then the callback depends if it's success or not. So if data as success, then we reload the page. So now we can remove this, and then let's try edit. Okay, success, reload, edit. Let me set the file image rather, and refresh. So it's updated. Edit. Let's that one should refresh. As you can see, it's updated. So let's try this again. See this file. Okay, now we have completed the product management. So we have the delete, then here have also the editing, which is working fine. So in the next video we're going to discuss or work on the supplier module. So the same thing with what we did with viewing a product or the product management features. So yeah, that's it. See you on the next video.